I am back to where I started again. Luckily I have rolling auto backups, and somehow I ended up corrupting the scene. And so what I may want to do is bring these into a separate scene, or work on this kind of modeling later. This is my master scene. I typically would be doing my modeling in separate scenes to bring them in. This is the big, gigantic mega scene. So you can see I have 62 million polygons so far, and the final will probably have 3 times that many, I'm guessing. So yeah. Let's see. So I'm going to be kind of careful here. I'm just going to go ahead and poly these guys. Just really hope that whatever happened was just a fluke. I have not had problems with scene corruption, or it's been very rare for me, despite all the weird stuff I do in this program. So fingers crossed that this is not going to happen again. I'm just going to have to do more versioning. What hurts about versioning is that it's from a storage standpoint pretty expensive, because these files are so large. And so if I'm saving a new version out every few minutes, I would just be filling my hard drive. So I do probably need a better system. I certainly don't want to lose work. I save constantly when I'm in my smaller files, for the record. What I was thinking about with this one is to let me open up this group. I'll do some minimal modeling with it. I've definitely had issues with modeling groups of splines, like using FFD and other modifiers on them. What I really need to, I think it's not the operation itself, it's the rapid succession in which I'm doing it. This is actually kind of the danger with hotkeys, really, is that you can end up doing things that the software can totally do. It's just when it gets too many commands and it's trying to do too many things at once, you get problems. So I do have some 2D work I can do as a backup. But yeah, I've worked on scenes that had like over twice as many polygons, a ton of objects, and they never crashed like that. What I think is a good idea is, what's gotten me out of a lot of trouble is just saving selected, like selecting the entire scene, Control A, save selected, and then open up a new scene, merge, and I think that there's just certain data that kind of can accumulate, especially if you're using a lot of third-party scripts and everything. This is a legal copy of Max. I've heard that the pirated versions, you can have more problems with crashing. There's something about the crack makes them more unstable. So really glad I'm not in that boat. Yeah, when it's yeah, I could get into a whole discussion about legal software. Right now I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. So I'm going to save out more versions now. Oh yeah, see, you can see it's saving here. Sometimes I interrupt that, but I'm going to let it save auto backups this time. just in case that happens again. I have it set for every 10 minutes. It saves one, and I've got a rolling 3. And so basically I have about 9 gigabytes of just backup files going at this point. Actually, maybe a little less than that. This is not quite that big yet. Alright, so I'm going to group these, exit isolation modes, fit them into the scene, and then continue hiding sets. So these objects are effectively part of the city infrastructure. They are not the set objects that are being hidden through the scene. And let's give it a couple seconds here to show everything. Please don't crash. Here I can... This is what I'll do, is I'll just switch tasks to something else. This is a magic card that recently got released, and I'm just touching up edges a little bit for the print version. Because this only has to be shown on a very small card. You know, you're not going to see these little details. Ryan Ismail on Facebook. How do you do? You're doing amazing work. I am doing well. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well as well in these interesting times. Yeah, this definitely looks, kind of feels... It's fine for a magic card, because with a magic card you see it like this big. But I definitely want to put a little more love into this lava for print reasons. With little, just little dark crevices. Let's see. Alright, so isolation is now exited, and we have a lot of stuff going on. It's funny, I had a place I was going to put this, and I think I ended up putting something else there, so I'm going to have to figure out a new home for it. I think I want this kind of rhythm, things bursting forth from this like middle part. And where I don't have a good enough centerpiece for the middle part, like it needs to be more elevated. But for now, this is really just a prototype of the first level. I need to get a sense of zoom levels. I need to get the actual, like, make sure that the game code's working. So I am not actually worrying too heavily about the specifics right now. I'm just trying to achieve the right kind of density. So in game development, that's called having like a vertical slice. So I'm trying to have something that at least is got the level of polish that you would have, but it's not the whole thing. So this is not going to be the full level. This is just going to be a part of it. But this area in particular, but this whole thing is kind of my vertical slice. I've got a whole bunch of other assets that are not even in this scene yet. I'm trying not to bring them in until I need them, because there's no use in like weighing down your entire scene, right? Like, Yep, I feel like I've trained long and hard for a time like this. It's pretty easy for me to stay sane in isolation. I haven't been exercising enough, so that's not great. But I've been communicating a lot. I mean, streaming helps to feel a little like socially connected with people. So I always appreciate hearing from y'all. Let's get out of this. So, You know what I think this is? I think that OBS, it seems like I keep complaining about the irony of things going wrong when I stream, and I really think that my broadcaster... let's try something here. So... let's see what OBS Studios... So it's taking up not that much memory. It's taking up GPU, but that's okay. I don't typically use my GPU a lot for this kind of work. Max viewport performance CPU. Photoshop's not too bad. So Ryzen, what are you doing that's creative lately? So here I'm kind of inspired by the artificial islands that you see a lot, like the ones that are kind of popping up in the Middle East. This is a world where the coastline is it's kind of like a post-economic, well, not economic, but like environmental disruption, let's just say. And so people don't have any qualms about sculpting the coastline in a major way. We've had risen sea level, all that stuff. Lots of floating architecture as well. I might do something interesting with these windows. I feel like this building in itself is kind of boring. I really should just be moving stuff around at this point, though. It's pretty easy to get distracted. I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'm gonna do something that I usually don't do, which is save the entire selected. And this is just a safeguard because I crashed earlier today. It's just good practice to take all my actual geometry and content and I'm just gonna call it a generic name. My son says I'm using my time with composing music and dealing with the CPU. Oh, 4 gigabytes RAM. Music's kind of intensive. I'm pretty impressed if you're able to make music with that. How old is your machine? Also, it's cool if they're that you're making music. Something I would like to do more of. Huge appreciation for music production. I might put this into performance mode. See if I can kind of reduce. What I'll do too is I'll work in a single viewport. That really helps to speed things up. That's kind of like the way this looks. I've been trying to do a better job at documenting the process. So I'm gonna go ahead and like snap a shot of this. I have made the mistake of thinking I would go back later and do this, but figure out what to do with this structure. I think it's a little too large right now. That's a little better. I'm trying to keep things relatively similarly sized. And one of the reasons for that is that I want to be able to make it a little harder to find things. You know, scale is a big part of what people are going to use to find stuff. But I do plan to, in following levels, to mess with scale in the hidden object game, where you'll have, say, a tower that has a similar structure to an object in the foreground, and both of them are considered part of the same set. So I wanted to kind of teach kind of or cultivate, or I don't know what the right word is, but like a kind of a scale-free approach to things. We use an object dock dropper. I'll just do it manually. I thought object dropper let me drop the ground plane, but my current ground is locked, so. Raison says, the machine is a 9-year-old MacBook Air. Ooh, you're a trooper. Any software is not compatible anymore with OSI. Oh yeah, Apple retired your machine without asking you. That's Apple for you. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I mean, 9 years old, I mean, you got a lot of use out of it, I'm sure. Yeah, that sounds like a trial and tribulation to get that to work well. Oh, I remember something I was doing for the playtesting. So yeah, you can see my FPS is actually pretty good despite all these polygons when I'm in a single wireframe mode. Trying to get more used to just switching, just staying in a single mode and switching rather than trying to do stuff in quad. So what I'm trying to do is start populating the scene with non-set objects so it's harder to find them. So here we have kind of a rose-inspired floating building. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to add the ramp. I was gonna have this interesting, like, steppy ramp thing for these floating buildings so that they can come in. It's gonna be right down here. It's gonna remove a segment and add this whole ramp, and I put this building here and then I forgot about it. So many things to do. I started making a spreadsheet just to manage all these things, and I realized at the time spent managing the spreadsheet is sometimes not worth it. I don't know. This is gamifying my art like this is something new to me. So I'm going to be learning as I go. Oh, awesome! Jim Burns is here. It's great to hear from you. It has been a while. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Staying cooped up, I'd imagine. Yeah, how have things been? I'm gonna move this for now. So I just attached this geometry. What I'm going to be doing is adding a ramp that, it's sort of like a whole bunch of Falkirk wheels. So you can see it kind of ripped off the Falkirk wheel a little bit. If anyone is aware, not aware of what this is, it's a very, very cool feat of engineering. I'll share it in chat. But I want to make something that's like a whole bunch of these. It's sort of like I want it to be like a water escalator. Because why not? So this has a, the Wikipedia has a time lapse of the Falkirk wheel. If you, see if I can just, I'm just gonna share it in chat here. Post it in Twitch too. So I'm really just going to block this in. In fact, I'm going to use one of Max's stock primitives. There we go. So Max has a staircase create. I'm going to put this in isolation mode so I have it as a reference for angle. I'm going to go try to create what? I almost never use stairs. I think it's just called stair. Yeah, alright. So you've got straight stair, L-type stair. So I want to avoid purely straight lines. I think I'm going to make a spiral stair with a very wide radius. Like huge radius. Do it that way. I mean, engineering-wise, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It just looks more cohesive with the style, and the idea is that this is supposed to be a world where they have the technology to transcend pure utilitarian design. So do I make it curved or not is the question. I'll try it. I'll just try it. So I kind of have it be closed, have it be a box, go with box for now. I want stringers, sure. Definitely want to change the radius of this thing. Let's make it like 1,000 meters. Now let's make the other radius, or the width, I guess. It needs to be wide enough to carry most of the stuff that's going to be in it, so... That's about the level of curve I want. It's a little wider than what I was gunning for. I'm gonna select a few choice objects. So I have to decide what my largest floating object on one of these platforms is going to be, because that will be, you know, what we'll have to match or fall short of the radius of this transport thing. We'll go back to isolation mode again, but now I've got some stuff to reference. Oh yeah, way overkill. You do not need it to be 200 meters wide. 100 is probably sufficient. How many revs do I want? I think I only want like 0.2 revs. Something like that. And I thought... but let's go with the sweep of this shape. I don't have this this tool memorized because I use it so rarely. So it's coming out of this one here. The riser height. So you can pin riser height and count. So it's going to be very shallow. I think that this is a decent riser count. I may actually make the revs more like point... something like that, maybe. I'd really like to taper it. I don't think I can do that with this primitive. You could go into the water a little bit. Wait, didn't I just delete a segment from this? Did I delete the wrong one? Let's see. Oh man, I totally did. That's funny. It's not a biggie. It's just funny. It actually belongs to this one. And then it's gonna have a separate thing going off. So we actually want the riser... Let's go to 4.5. 5.5 maybe. Oh, we're close. 6. There we go. It's close enough for now. I'm gonna have to do a pass anyways in 2D to finalize this. Let's see, would flipping it make more sense? Visually. See how it kind of counters the flow? You've got this swooping here and this swooping the other way. Either one of them's a little clumsy looking, I think. By adding peripherals and changing the shape of this thing here, I think I can make it work though. Go ahead and save. Open up my thing to work on while it saves, because it takes... It actually doesn't take that long to save. But it takes long enough that I'd like to do something productive. Really, the shadows need to be more warm, because the light is cool. I'm only going to mainly emphasize some of the detail around the teeth of this guy. Alright, it's probably done saving. Yep. Sometimes if I want to match wireframe, I'll set it to flat color. Then I'll just color pick the wire. Nice fast way to do it. I use wire color in a big way, way more than is typically expected of the software. So this is just a block in. I'll make it pretty later. I'll probably taper it and do some neat stuff with it, but at least I have... See, the reason I do this is I want to start adding small set objects to this. I'm actually thinking that the steps I'm going to pin the rise and then change the rise count to more like 10. I want to make sure there's still enough room for some of the larger stuff. Like I want this guy to be able to fit, barely, but fit. So I think that I'm making the width more like 110 is getting into that spot where I think I can fit most of my set objects, so yay. I was thinking that for farming purposes you could have like temperature control on the water of these elevated things. I think that was supposed to be moved there. Oh, much better. But if I do something little like that, I like reflexively save even though it takes forever. My task switching ability is pretty good, I think. I can withstand this kind of back and forth to like painting a magic card to making something like this. You have kind of a diffuse lighting in this scene, so I don't really want to make. I have to be careful about not making the light source from the ambient light make too sharp of edges, or the whole thing's gonna look overly sharp. I think the background's already like plenty sharp. I want to make sure I get sufficient repetition throughout this. A lot of these objects are ones I would break apart and start spreading out. It's not supposed to be just this mishmash of a bunch of single objects, but they're going to blend into each other better. That, of course, is it's not the priority right now. The priority right now is to take all these, what I call decoy items. I've got lots of these objects that they are not sets, but I need them to be approximately the same size, or maybe even have some of the characteristics of the set object. I should group this thing. I'm careful now to make sure I haven't, I'm not perfect about it. I'm trying to make sure I have the active layer selected before I group stuff. Makes organizing the scene way better. Because then you end up with rogue groups and like the different layers if you don't. So I was going to do something with this thing. I was going to maybe mirror the motion that was going on here. If you've got a sweep going from right to left, there's sweep. I kind of like the octopus being where it is because it's got its tentacles in one of these, and actually two parts of these pools, although I do need to move it now so it fits this better. It's supposed to be something like this. Yeah, something like that. So, dipping its tentacles into another pool going on here. This is kind of a tower. This actually belongs on a platform. It's not something that I want to have sticking out of the water necessarily. I'm going to put it inside of here. I'm gonna go through and clean the scene properly later. I want these larger buildings to be like docks for the smaller ones. Ooh, this one's pushing it in terms of being a little too large. I love how this this craft came out. I don't bother with naming my objects at this point because I do a lot of combining and recombining again. This goes on top of the tower. See if I can find a tower for it. I haven't brought in my towers yet. Got a bunch of towers that I still want to do stuff with. But I think I could maybe put it... I think this would actually work pretty well. I think I'll modify it. I think I just do the sign here, but it doesn't work with the symmetry yet. Yeah, it's good enough. Make you a little taller here. And don't isolate yet because I'm bringing this guy. I think it needs to be a little larger, just a little bit. Oh. Didn't group it yet. It's kind of iris inspired. Happy spring, everybody. Oh, you know what? I'm not done with this yet. I remember now. I was planning to, that's good enough for now. taper this a little bit. Camden on Facebook says the detail is unreal. Yeah, it's a lot to manage. Thanks for stopping in, by the way. I think I prefer this being more rounded, a little more rounded. I'm going to go into nested isolation mode, and then pull this apart. I'm going to create a repeating element. This feels a little too disjointed, so I'm going to tie in pieces of it below somehow. Group again, exit nested ISO. Super useful plugin, by the way, for anyone who uses 3ds Max on this. I just want something that helps to... I think I know what I'll do. So you can see, I have a symmetry modifier. Oh, I want to make sure to make this unique. Oh no, I don't actually. So I'm going to make a mini petal out of this. Something like that. Yeah, I like this. One of the hardest things I've had to learn is how to say the words good enough for myself. Because there's just so much to do for this project. I have to just keep moving on. I'm going to reset the X form on this. Use the align tool to align this to the center, or approximate center, and do some some manual adjusting here. Hey Cameron, I'm glad you got to catch us live. I wanted to kind of overlay this. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna flip it, actually. Yeah, that's better. Do I want to interleave it or not? I may want to rescale it just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there's a couple of different things. I can make a radial array. I could just radial symmetry it. There's a few different things I could do. Do not want to mirror 2x count. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Got to reset the x form again. I really wish you could reset, you could use that utility on grouped objects without ungrouping them. It's probably a way to do it if you need to look into it. There we go, that's better. I forgot I need to make this go along the other axis before I do radial on it. What's easier in this case is to just do it the old-fashioned way. What I'm doing is I'm adjusting the pivot point. 60-degree angle, instances, we need 5 copies. Group all of them. And got what I want. Alright. So now it should match. Now you've got a little bit of a cohesion going on with the colors and everything else. I might sit down a bit. NAS is just going to get its own new layer. This is a pretty sizable building here. It's actually larger than a house. So it kind of gives you a sense of the scale of this place. It's really big. In fact, I can measure exactly how large this is. So let's see, it's about 102 meters long, so it's over 300 feet. Maybe end up making a set out of these. Pretty different than some of the other stuff. Oops. I made it an instance. So it's the change is reflecting along both. But alright, I'll just do this the proper way. Just waiting for it to save. You know what really annoys me is I can't seem to disable my buttons on my Wacom. I want to rest my left hand on top of the buttons, and I go in and I disable all my buttons. And I would think that should like solve it.
Must be missing something. I'm not touching the touch ring. It's kind of a new tablet, so I haven't... If I knew what this pop-up window that happens when I press the buttons does, I would Google how to get rid of it, and I don't know what that... I'll deal with it later. The sets defined are starting to get a little dense here. It's kind of harder to find where to hide my objects. Here's one of them. This twisty guy, and this is one of them as well. So if I, you can see which, where the set objects are. Of course, I accidentally added a couple to, the wrong layer here. I'm gonna go clean this up. There we go. I think I got everything. So now we should just have this flow arc set. Well, these made their way in here too. They must just be there.
want these to be docking on some of these larger anchor islands. With this thing, this is supposed to be. I haven't added all the the dock hookup things to this one yet, but. Or I might as well add the ships to it. Yeah, it's kind of a port. Captain Yatsarian Sir asks if it's a port. Yeah. I have these structures that they're kind of like manufacturing centers that I haven't added the ships to them yet, but like goods come in at the bottom, and each point in which something is assembled is like a crux point, and they kind of move up the chain until they're ready up here. I really like that idea. I know there's some problems with actually doing it like that on Earth, but I make the world steered. Hope you've been well. Right now I am placing little, actually not that little, kind of little boats. I mean, let's see what the size is here. It's 83 meters long, so not tiny. Glad to hear you're getting by. That's getting by is good in these times, so hang in there. Yasarian asks, how's coronavirus been? Well, I don't have it, and I haven't had it yet, as far as I know. Maybe I had it, and I don't know. But I have been healthy. But I'm doing fine with the quarantine. It's a bummer because I'm gonna have some events canceled. So it'd be nice if that business stimulus check thing came in a reasonable amount of time. But this is actually a great chance for me to double down on making a game. I'd actually already, I mean, I was doing less events this year than last year anyways, but for a totally unrelated reason, mainly that I want to work on this project. This project is and is going to be a lot of work. So I realized that unless I made it a priority, I wasn't going to get it done. So I'm actually also touching up a magic card right now. This is already released, but I need to release it for print sales. Colors in this one are annoying me. I'm not really spending too much time yet. Oh, I can run my new script on this. So I've got a script now that merges based on wire color. Super useful. So now, yes, oh, it's beautiful. It'll save me so much time. Curious how this renders. It's just fine. I haven't added many fancy materials yet. That's going to be the next step. That's kind of the polish phase. It's still kind of cool as is, though. Might actually, I'm trying to take better documentation of what I'm doing, so I know how to render this. Despite having such a mega scene, this renders pretty quickly. As long as I'm in isolation mode, I'm good, so. Oh. Actually, oh, thank you for the, yeah, I haven't officially released the crystal artifact for Ikoria. Once I'm done making the touch-ups for the print company, I'll probably post it early next week, the final one. I don't know if you were here, but I've been like, you know, I made it so it would work well small, but when you zoom in, it's a little not quite detailed enough for how I like to go. So I was gonna just polish some edges a little bit. It had been a while since I had done that kind of illustration. Still want to figure out where to put this little one. See, I'm hiding one here. They're not exactly they're kind of hiding in plain sight, you know, they're... Oh, I'm really tired. I might actually like go take a nap. My sleep is still really strange. I think I'll hide this somewhere back behind here. I'm gonna obscure it a little bit. Kind of fun. I feel like I'm like making an Easter egg hunt or something, but in, say, post-singularity Easter egg hunt. Man, my sleep's been really weird lately compared to what it was. Even though I was working from home before the quarantine, it's still a disrupting factor. I don't know if that's gonna be too hard for players to find. Well, I'm going to be doing play testing to see what's too hard. It could be that thing is not going to be able to be found. I know I would find it because I put it there, but I want to make some of them harder than others. Just saving here.
This is a conflicting area. These two are tangenting and shouldn't be. I'm lifting some geometry from previous projects here. I think I'm gonna hop off for now. I'm tired. But yeah, I had a lot of fun streaming today. Thank you for everybody who stopped in. And yeah, I'll just keep doing this. Bye everybody.